Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Vel.
And I'm Sherry.
And we're back with another video, man. So we've been reading all the comments on the last video. We saw a lot of different people that we want to address. Like, we actually saw some people who left some feedback and who actually make some videos on some of the stuff that we're talking about. So we're definitely going to be talking about your video soon. We definitely saw you, so shout out to you. Thanks for leaving the comments. We definitely are seeing them all, so make sure you keep the comments coming. Go ahead and drop a thumbs up on this video. But in this video, we actually have a very interesting topic. We're going to be talking about the Library of Alexandria, is it called? Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking about that got burned down by, it's said that it was done by Julius Caesar, but that is a big topic that everyone debates about. So no one actually knows, but it seems like Julius Caesar is the one that it lines up with the most. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that because we found this to be an interesting topic. My personal thoughts on it is that it's sad to see that some of the same problems we have today, like with leadership just doing crazy things out of impulse and not thinking about the consequences of the other people. I feel like they said that this set us back 1,000 years. They said that this could have set us back multiple thousands of years. And because we don't actually know what was in the library that burnt down. So first off, you don't know what the Library of Alexandria is, or Alexander is. It's a library that was created by Alexander the Great, and basically when people would pull up to the harbor and they would get off their ships and stuff, it was required that they actually hand over their books and information about their ships or just anything, any technology, any advances that they have from where they're from. So if they came from the other side of the world, they kept the original document from that side of the world, and they kept it in that library, and they actually had people give them a copy of what they brought there. So they could only come there if they would give over some information and knowledge, which I think is huge in itself. But yeah, that's what the library was. So actually, what do you think about the impact of what happened in the library itself, the idea of the library and all of that? So what's your thoughts?
Well, the library itself, can you imagine, that's the first global sharing that we've heard of. Can you imagine you're going on a journey and you need to make this stop to wherever the Library of Alexandria was located, and then you hand over your original drawings, your orders, whatever it is you're doing, any book that you have, and then you have scribes in there that are making copies of this, and they're giving you the copies, they're keeping the original, so that all this information is in one place. And everything in here is accessible by everybody, so that no matter where you're from, near or far, we all have information on one another, and we get to know each other as a people. You know, information sharing, some of the things that we are lacking now. You know, we have all these hierarchies set up now that separates people. But can you imagine a time when we all had to go into, we were all connected by this one library, and to find out about your neighbors anywhere over the world, you just pull up, you share some information with them, they share information with you. It breeds curiosity, and instead of all the things that we see going on in our nation now, there is a natural curiosity, and we want to know our neighbors across the way. There is nothing more, first of all, it's beautiful and it's mind-blowing. But then the horror of one ruling emperor throwing a temper tantrum, sounds familiar, doesn't it? And then destroying stuff that not only hurts us in the present, but it also diminishes our future. Because what's going to happen is we're going to have to redo this all over again. What do they say? If you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. I think America needs to take a pause right here. What do you think?
That's a fact. And what's crazy about it is, like, we have libraries right now with information that dates back thousands of years. So from that point in time, their libraries, they had information that dated back thousands of years as well, which means that we lost thousands of years of information. And they had something great. Like, this was also the first format for a college and stuff. They had classes and stuff within the library. Like, this was really a big deal. And it was really unifying everyone. It was a place of unity and serenity, and just, if you know all the list of people who went there, I don't remember all their names, but so many great people who have impacted our world like tremendously. Like the people who created the term noun and verb, that guy was there. The person who created geometry, trigonometry. Like all of these mathematicians have been there, and some of the greatest people throughout our human history were at this library. So there was so much knowledge, so much wisdom. Like we have people now, well, people from our history like Nikola Tesla, whose the geniuses of that time were visiting that library. So you don't know how much wisdom, how much insight into the future, how much insight into whatever they were bringing to that library. And one guy, hungry for just power, goes around and just burns it for no reason and kills everyone. And that's honestly what was going on during that time with Julius Caesar. He was just on a power trip. I don't get the need to just try to slay everything and own everything and rule everybody just so everybody can bow down to your greatness or whatever the reason. Like I don't ever see there being a reason to just go off attacking everyone. I feel like we're so behind as a society and as a human race because we spend the majority of our time fighting with each other, as far as like, instead of like making advances towards actually a greater cause. Because imagine how many, like, all these wars, all the things that's happened throughout the world. Imagine all the great minds that we have lost due to some type of violence or anything going on. We've lost some amazing people. Who knows how many geniuses or future potential geniuses who could have died because of this. Because of all the things that goes on in our world. And to talk about the theory that there's life and stuff on other planets and stuff, if there is some type of like smarter beings out there, I feel like they probably are working together a lot more than Earth, and Earth could probably be a disgrace to the solar system. That's what I would assume. Like, out of all the planets, Earth is probably just a disgrace, which is why nobody even wastes their time to reveal themselves to us, because it's like, why would they? Like honestly, if they came down here, what's the first thing we would try to do? Attack them,
exactly.
Study them, kill them. Like that's the first instinct of Earthlings.
Yes, it is.
And that's such a animalistic, I don't even know if that's a word, animalistic way of thinking. Like, we're like animals on this planet, and I can see how that would be beneath some beings who actually have technology and stuff to fly around. Like, if you could fly to different Earths and stuff, and you could do all these things, I feel like Earth would be the Julius Caesar of the solar system. I feel like we would be going around trying to just dominate everything. This is our planet now, and I don't get it. And it's so many, and it seems like that's the people that get into power, people with that type of mindset. Mm-hmm. And the good guys have a very, very hard time when they finally do make it into power. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's just some of my thoughts. I think that we're so behind because we just don't work together well, and we don't communicate well. Like that's, I think, is the biggest issue.
And honestly, as you've noticed, well, this is our second video. I don't agree 100% with what my son says, but one of the things we're trying to show is that you don't have to agree 100% as long as you're willing to have an open dialogue and respect what the other person is saying. I don't doubt that there probably is life on other planets, but his vision of it and my vision of it is they're quite different. But I'll say this. I would find it hard for anybody to desire any other beings from any other planet to come here, because we can't even get it right here together. It is amazing, all the technology, even though we are thousands of years behind. With all the technology that we have, we've not progressed any further than we have because we don't play well together. Somebody has to go on an ego trip and decide, I am required to be better than somebody else, which means now I have to find ways to step on everybody else. Can you imagine if it was everybody's goal just to obtain knowledge and get to know one another so that we could build a better planet, a better nation, a better city, a better neighborhood? If that was really the goal, the only time, well, I'm sorry, I'm straying. We're supposed to be talking about Library of Alexandria. And don't get me wrong, I've not forgotten that. It's just that all of this is personal. I guess because I'm at the older end of the spectrum, I see how all this stuff relates. And I mean, all that knowledge, all that power that is gone. And if it was our goal to really, you know, again, to establish that kind of thing, to establish the sharing, the caring about one another. Everybody's goal is honestly to make this world we live in a better place, and for all of us to prosper. And I'm not even talking about in dollars and cents. I'm talking about in, you know, in your mind, in your goals, in your dreams. Everybody's pushing toward something marvelous instead of hoarding it for just these certain people and everybody else. You do what you can. Can you imagine the world we'd be in? Again, one ruler's temper tantrum that set our world back thousands of years. And we're not even back to where, we're not even back to there. Can you imagine how far along we would be if we had all of that information? All of the stuff that historians have destroyed because they want to find a way to monetize it.
And honestly, that's a scary thing to think about. It's a scary thing to think about how much we miss out on just constantly beefing with each other and going to war with each other and fighting all the time. Because if you really think about humans and people in general, like every single war, every single thing we've ever had to fight about, there's been one side, one point of view. There's been another side, another point of view. That's a powerful thing. Two people who see the same thing differently. That's actually a beautiful thing. But the animalistic nature of people is to just, let's fight over this. No, let's use this and empower and build, like, let's find a middle ground and build something great from this. I see it this way. You see it that way. We both don't have to necessarily be wrong, but let's see how we can be right together. With that type of mindset, you bring two clashing people together. That's like a yin and yang type of thing. That's like you need the other side in order to be great. All right, y'all. So my bad. We just got interrupted. But basically what I was saying is if one person sees things just one way, you're only going to be headed in one direction. You're going to be headed in that direction regardless of if it's the right direction or if it's the wrong direction. And you might not know until it's too late. I think that with multiple sides and multiple different arguments, if you got one side, you got the other side. The other side can say, if you go in this direction you want to go in, I think that will lead us here, and this is not where we want to be. And you can say, I think this is going to lead us here, and this is where we want to be. So you actually get to analyze the pros and the cons of whatever it is your idea is in your head. But as long as you're having that conversation together, you can try to see eye to eye, see the good and bad of your plans, and try to get to a point together where it's only good. Get to a plan that meets the requirements that everyone wants. I think that being able to do that is a lot more productive than just fighting. Like, because at the end of the day, killing and fighting and trying to take over everything so everything can be done your way, what are you actually accomplishing? Because all you've done is kill everybody with a different perspective, kill everyone that could have challenged what you were thinking and could have taken your thoughts to the next level. So I think it's just that we have a history of not respecting one another. It's a respect thing, not thinking that what we're thinking is the most important thing, when other people and their thoughts bring value as well. They bring value to our lives. They bring value to the world. You might not necessarily agree with everything someone says, but hearing their thoughts and hearing their perspective allows you to think differently about things, which is empowering in itself.
Yes, it is. And to get back to the Library of Alexandria, I just don't want you to think we've forgotten that is the topic. My son refers to me as a nerd because not only do I actually have a library in my house with actual books, I own a Kindle, and then I have the Kindle app on other not appliances, you know the word for phones and iPads and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Devices. The Library of Alexandria, all I can think about from my perspective as a nerd is getting lost and sitting in there. Can you imagine any topic I can imagine, pulling a book off the shelf and actually being able to read this, and then come home and have my son call me more of a nerd when I'm telling him about what I found in the books? I will never have that pleasure because that library no longer exists. We need to remember to value the things that we have and just exactly how important it is. It's not just a place for books and pieces of paper. That is our history. That is something that our children and our children's children and our children's children's children may want to read about, because when they get here, we won't be here. And can you imagine them starting all over again to, striking a match trying to create fire when we've been there, done that, not only in this generation, but turns out in other generations too. But we don't know that because all this knowledge has been destroyed. Again, my son mentioned respect, and in addition to respect, I mean add a certain amount of value to valuing the things that we leave behind as history, so that we won't have to keep going back and finding the same information. That'd be like me repeating the same sentence to you 10 times. That's a waste of time. There's so much more to be done that would not only advance us as individuals, but would advance us as a world.
I agree. I definitely agree. And ultimately, I guess the point is, like, when we see the Library of Alexandria and what happened to it, what comes to mind is the unity, the unity that it represented, like how it brought people together for a great cause, and great people came there, worked together, spread knowledge, and just togetherness. Honestly, it was just a point in time where we were together, and it was a point in time where someone else came along and was destructive. For like in human history, we have a lot of that.
Oh yes.
I think that it's a lot to be learned from the situation altogether, and I think that it's a lot we have to learn from each other. So yeah, that's just our thoughts and opinion on this topic. Definitely let us know what you all think down below in the comments section. We'd love to hear what you all have to say. And also, if you have any other interesting historical topics that you want us to talk about and cover, make sure you leave that down below in the description or the comment section so we can actually talk about that in future videos. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. Make sure you all drop that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and we'll catch you all on the next one. Later, y'all.